welcome to RPM News Weekly, a roundup of important automotive news that goes behind the headlines. I'm your host, Rich Tabor. This week, RPM News Weekly travels to Middleboro, Massachusetts to welcome the completely redesigned 8th generation Toyota Camry to the Boston metro region by way of a product demonstration presented at the headquarters of the New England Motor Press Association. For the past few days, RPM News Weekly, through its affiliation with WheelsTV, has gotten a preview of this new 2018 model, which we are in fact driving at this moment. More precisely, I've got my hands on the XSE, a sporty trim of the 2018 Camry. Wild with style, the new Camry has more lines and creases than a wrinkled pair of pleated pants. It's all good though. Toyota has finally elevated its bread and butter sedan from practical but boring to edgy and controversial. Prime example here with the XSE are the spiffy quad exhaust outlets, never before seen on a production Camry. They account for a bump up in 4-cylinder output to 206 horsepower from the standard 203 that the new upgraded higher compression direct injection 2.5-liter engine ordinarily produces. There's a lot more too, from the sharper handling induced by its longer lower platform to its highly stylized interior fittings. So stay with us as we make our trek to Nampa and discover just what makes the new 2018 Toyota Camry special. Hello, Rich Tabor with RPM News Weekly. I'm here with Cynthia Ariano, Product Training Specialist for Toyota, and we've been talking, watching, riding, and doing everything you can with the new 2018 Toyota Camry in all of its many trims and guises. Well, anyway, I've got a few questions here for Cynthia. Glad to have you on board tonight.
Thank you for having me, Rich.
Isn't this a great space for doing a little bit of product training and explanation?
Absolutely. I've never been to this garage, and it is absolutely beautiful.
We're here in Middleboro, Massachusetts at the New England Motor Press Association garage, and this is where we hold a lot of our meetings, and we get a chance to test drive vehicles from many of the manufacturers, but tonight it's all Toyota. One of the questions that I have is that the new Toyota Camry is riding on the TNGA platform, which stands for Toyota New Global Architecture. Is that correct? And it's the first that has been built from the ground up with that platform. So I imagine that there'll be more to come in the future. What are we likely to see from the Toyota lineup with that platform?
Absolutely. So the new TNGA platform is going to be something that's going to almost every vehicle. It's intended to make sure that we have consistency amongst all our vehicles, making sure that the quality and the reliability on all of them is pretty succinct. But it also benefits the manufacturing side so that we're able to turn around and meet customer demand if necessary, if the market requires. But it's something, I don't have an exact cadence to say what the next vehicle is. Typically, all the full model changes are going to be going on the new TNGA platform, but it's something that we're going to consistently start seeing on all of our product.
So there's also some savings, I imagine, with the speed, as you were talking about, being able to move quickly in the production line, but sharing parts, I guess, between the different brands that Toyota has in its lineup.
Absolutely. It's actually going to be able to allow us to source products, source parts faster. So, you know, when we went through the earthquake in Japan, it really disrupted our process. So this will now allow our lines to be more interchangeable, to be able to adjust quickly.
Well, that sounds like a good direction to go in. This new Camry, you have a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. It's not turbocharged, and I was a little surprised that there wasn't a turbocharge with so many manufacturers going to the 1.4-liter turbos, the 2.0 turbos. Any particular reason why Toyota has stuck with a 2.5 in a direct injection, but it's a regular, normally aspirated engine?
Yeah, so it's a D4S injection, so it's direct and port. But no, as far as why we don't have a turbo, I don't have an exact answer. But as far as I'm sure driving it, you got to see that the 4-cylinder has a good punch. So 203 horsepower, not bad at all.
Yeah, that's true. That definitely outpaces some of the smaller turbos. And I understand you get a little bit more horsepower from the SE. Am I correct? It bumps up to the ones with the quad. Well, that's another new item. Is the quad exhaust? It's the first time on a Camry you've seen quad exhaust. But I think it goes up to 206.
Yes, that is correct. Okay. So you will see 206 on the SE.
Well, that's good. Now, turning to the hybrid, which is another powertrain that you have, there's no plug-in hybrid, but you have a regular hybrid. Any particular reason why no plug-in hybrid?
No, I don't think that there's any particular reason why. Obviously, we do have the Prius Prime to fit that need, but I don't know if there's anything in the works to come down in the future.
So no reason to compete with yourself on that. You got that base covered in another direction. One of the other things that I thought was peculiar too, as I looked through some of the product specifications, was that the LE on the hybrid uses a lithium-ion battery pack, but the SE and the XLE, I believe, those other two, they're using the nickel metal hydride. Any explanation for that?
Typically, it's what we build more of, and so availability of those batteries are usually the reason why.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's simply a matter of availability.
Yeah, so that is something that obviously we're trying to get more of, and hopefully our lineup can be complete,
right.
But availability is usually the holdup.
And the battery placement in the hybrid has been moved, if I'm not mistaken. It's now under the rear seat, which allows you to have comparable trunk space, which was eaten up in the previous version of the hybrid.
Absolutely. So now you're going to have more trunk space because you're not going to have that kind of bump that you used to have. But it also benefits in the handling of the vehicle because of the weight distribution. So you're going to have way better handling with with this change.
Oh, yeah, sure, that makes a lot of sense. Being changes the center of gravity, which on this car is a bit lower. Everything has been kind of reduced down about an inch or so, but you haven't sacrificed any of the interior.
Yeah, so the hip points are what have been adjusted so that you wouldn't sacrifice any of the interior headspace. But all those changes of dropping the inch is what allowed for us to move the roof line forward in order to have that really sleek profile.
Well, it's certainly, speaking of profiles, it's a very nice looking car. Lots more creases and lines than you've seen in previous versions of the Camry. It's sort of taken your bread and butter to a new level. No longer the more just practical looking car. It seems to have a lot more energy to its look.
Absolutely. So we definitely spiced up the style of this car. A lot of people used to say, wow, that is not my grandmother's Camry. And I can't help but laugh because it's true. Something that people consider to be vanilla is like it threw on some sriracha. It just totally changed the car.
Well, I'm all for sriracha, and I thank you very much, Cynthia, for taking a few moments talking with us here. Rich Tabor for RPM News Weekly here at the Automotion Garage, New England Motor Press Association in Middleboro.